if it's coming from outside our galaxy or if it's coming from inside the Earth, it definitely shows an acuity to our timing here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, warning us at the top of this century. Get ready. Beware the bearers of false gifts and of broken promises. Boom, we should have listened. This year, no, last year, 2020, early May, one of the first crop circles, I don't know if you saw it, it was a virus. It was a virus crop circle in May 2020. Hello, music lovers. The mother has spoken. We had a virus crop circle. In 2009, there was this bizarre appearance, very little sacred geometry, all pictograms, fish, birds, insects, but not generic ones. There were the ancient ones. The insect was a scarab. Another insect was the bee. The fish was an orthoceras, like 300 million years old. An octopus, been around forever. The birds were the phoenix rising. And that crop circle had flames coming out around her feet in that crop circle. You couldn't miss that that was Phoenix rising. You couldn't miss that it was a thunderbird to represent the Native Americans. You couldn't miss that it was a scarab. It was a pictogram, a picture laid in a field, photographs taken from the air. Why? Why this year? Hardly any math, hardly any sacred geometry, all pictograms, birds, fish, insects. What's going on? Boom, next spring, the big BP oil spill that killed millions of birds, fish, and insects. And here I am, crappie girl, going, shoot, they told us this is what it was. And here I am all by myself in Boulder, Colorado, going, I get it. I get it. Every time it's like so blatant, the mother is yelling, guys, I'm trying to help you. That's what I feel is going on. It is not military. It is not guys with boards and ropes. And it is not aliens in spaceships going, hey, let's pop one here. It's the Earth itself sending up these plasma fields with perfect planning and timing. And the balls of light, oh my God, have I filmed incredible ones. I think my most shocking movie, aside from crop circles, is also free. It's called Orbs and Light Beings. I should have really called it Fastest Way I've Ever Lost a Boyfriend. I took him to the crop circles in 2009 and 2010. And I was so in love, I couldn't see straight. And he was real curious. So the first year he came with me and he was like, oh my God, this is too fun. And how do you know all these amazing people? And wow, there's a lot of movies being filmed and you're in them. And wow, he's just loving it. Well, the next year I brought him again and it was so exciting. Oh God, until the day when Igor and Andy fell out of their van at the research center first thing in the morning. And we watched. And we looked at each other and I said, drugs or alcohol? What do you think? And we're, like it's early in the morning. We're waiting for the pilot report. We're having coffee and cake. That's what they call it over there. Coffee and cake. Coffee with clotted cream. So we're sitting there enjoying ourselves in the morning sun, waiting to take off for our incredible day filming. And these two guys, now that they've fallen out of the van, not gotten out, but fallen out two separate doors, they're almost crawling, but not. They're just walking really slowly and not straight up. Their shoulders are over, their heads are looking down. And I looked at Mike and I said, I think they need help. They don't look well. So here I am, the mom. And I got up and I said, hey guys, you all right? And Igor, this man from Belgium, looks up and his face was bright red. And he says, oh, what we saw last night. And I was like, why don't you come join us? So I brought them to the table and I said, please get them coffee and cake and come back quickly. So they sit down and they're just both in shock, staring at the table. And I introduced myself and I said, I'm very curious. I'm a regular here. I want to know what you saw. So they said, well, we were on the East Field Overlook, and I said, been there a number of times. And we were waiting to see the balls of light. We had our cameras, we had everything. We came here from Belgium. It's our first summer, super exciting. And we saw nothing. So we went back to the camper van, started to fall asleep, and we heard these French people wailing coming up the hill. And luckily we speak French, and we understood that they just saw balls of light. So we gathered ourselves together and got our coats and ran down the hill and met the French people. And he asked them, what did you see? And they said, oh, we saw these big orange balls of light. They got these big, and they're opening their arms. You can't see. And then they disappeared. And then there were two, and they disappeared. It was amazing. And now they're blabbing, going up the hill in French. And these two guys from Belgium are like, oh man, we're going back down. So they sit down, and sure enough, same thing happened. And Mike and I, now he's got the coffee and the cakes, and they're starting to kind of come around, and their heads are coming up, and they're able to look me in the eyes. And he said, oh, but what we saw next. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And he said, we saw these two balls of light. One disappeared. Then the big one popped back, and it was orange. It was bright. And all of a sudden, a door opened, and illuminated light beings with arms, legs, and head came out of the ball of light. And she's got her hand on her camera. So, oh my gosh, way to lose a boyfriend. So I said to the guys, would you be willing to tell me what you just told me on camera? And we'll go find a place. And they're so in shock, and their faces are so bright red. They're like, yeah, we can do that. So I'm looking around, and right next door, the research center is this church that was hundreds of years old, rock, stone. And I said, let's take the camera and we'll walk around the perimeter. We will find a place with good light. And sure enough, we walk around like magnets to the set of stairs with flawless lighting. Basically, a stage was waiting. These guys sit down and give me the perfect interview. And then he sends me a sketch, or maybe handed it to me, of what he saw. He said the first one came out, it had arms, legs, and a head, and then it leaned back into the ball, and another one came out. Well, I realized that I had photos of an orange ball of light with an opening, and now I know what it was. So I'm like blown away, absolutely blown away. And this is before I even knew the science. All I knew was these balls of light have illumined light beings in them, and these guys actually saw them. They had to go because they were completely shot, worn out, and I thanked them, and I got them on film. I got their data, their phone number, email, and they leave. And as they're walking away, I'm saying thank you, and they look up and they said, oh, there's the French people walking up. I'm like, this is too easy. Oh my gosh. So I took the French people, and they were incredible. Not crazy people. It was a woman, very clear-minded, and a man that was dressed like a yogini in all white with the orange scarf and a big, huge white beard. And then there was a young guy with them with a headset on bobbing. You know, it's like the teen version, the guru, and the French lady that translates. So the three of them sit down on the stairs behind the church, still flawless lighting. Wind goes away. I'm like, this is awesome. And they basically said the same story. It was incredible. And again, that movie's called Orbs and Light Beings. It's free on my website, cropcirclefilms.com/free. But the realization that those people came into our life at that time so that I could film them, and then the French people showed up, like it was too easy. And the translation was flawless. And the guru man, they all said the same thing. They saw it. And my favorite line, she said, we saw it. We don't know what it was, but we saw it. I mean, it's kind of like dogs don't lie. Those people weren't lying, you know, and I was completely convinced. And now I look at my boyfriend like, wasn't that great? And I could see his eyes like friggin' butterballs, like watermelons. I could see his heart sinking. It was just TMI. It was so over the top. My experiences there, and it was constantly that way. And we got back to